think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends.
Women are real comfortable sharing stories about their kids' constipation, even if their kids are like 25.
No problem.
Oh,
like
Jesus.
Three different people, I swear to God, told me stories about what their kids are going through. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why are they so constipated at the age of 25?
What's going on? It's
Yeah, that's a bit iffy for the age of 25.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I mean, like, you know, if you guys want to talk about constipation, you come to the right place.
You're at the Extinction Agenda.
Not only do I have third party and child stories, but first-hand accounts.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I too have to wait till Monday to get the business done.
That's right. Sometimes you have to hydrate. You have to figure out alternative measures. You know, there's a lot to factor into it.
Yeah. It's a thing.
No one's immune, but I mean, you know.
Yeah.
No. I think Dr. James, you may have been privy to Tooney's famous nurse story.
Oh, no. I don't think so.
Oh.
Well, maybe halfway through you telling me it, I'll be like,
I don't know if
I
anyone's
fucking
really
remember.
interested in that, but I can share it. It'll end
Well,
all constipation horrors for everyone.
Yep. Well, I guess let's find out.
Yeah.
I think
anyway,
a cure all. Yeah.
Yeah, she as a nurse in a geriatric ward. She used to unconstipate people, which included like basically going fucking nearly wrist deep into old people's anuses on a special chair and breaking up baseball size rock hard hunks of shit in a bloody massacre so that they could pass stool.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Yeah, she shared that over fucking dinner one time when me and Chris were like fucking 16 or 18, and I was like,
Jesus Christ,
bro, I'm like, you're desensitized. Like, what the fuck are you talking to us about this for?
Yeah.
And then I couldn't eat. I just like pushed my spaghetti away, and I was like, this is
oh boy.
And I was like,
holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
What horrors can hell have after that?
Mm-hmm. None.
Exactly.
Zero.
Well, there we go. That's a transition. Fantastic.
All constipation stories have been softened.
I was going to try to talk about Taylor Swift, but no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, that's fine too.
Yeah, I mean, we're not.
Kate actually stayed up till 1:12 a.m.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not only watching a TikTok live stream of somebody crudely filming Taylor Swift's creepy commercial during the middle of a football game, which I was paying attention to on the sidebar, just being like, what the fuck is this madness? And then she proceeded to stay up until the release and then just like listen to songs. I'm
a little behind, guys. There's a new album or something, or is it a single or
it just dropped today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
broke streaming records, and she's carrying like 4 of the top 10 songs or something.
Fucking God,
outrageous.
It's not a good album. Like just sort of scanning it, I don't much care for it as a Taylor Swift album. Maybe it'll grab me, but
a lot of synth, man.
Yeah, I was really taken. I don't know if you guys watched that video I sent about that guy, like listening to it and trying to figure out who the producer, like he was like, I hate this guy, Jack Antonoff, so much that I'm going to recognize like right away if he's involved. And it's like 2 beats in and he's like,
yeah, because it's like, and he's like, that's him.
Yeah, that's the guy.
That's okay. Now it's all these making
kind
sense
of an
now.
inside joke.
Oh, this whole thing is making sense for you now.
Well, I didn't really grasp what the update was about. So now,
right.
They're trying to steal. She's trying to steal the Arctic Monkeys' fire. I think they just released an album too, which is supposed to be pretty good. But anyway.
Yeah, I think it might be the other way around.
Haters are gonna hate, man. Number one. Mm-hmm. That's all there is to it.
Well, like that's your defense of Taylor Swift is like,
yeah. I mean, like, I'm not.
Well, that's my defense of Taylor as well.
I can't clap at Taylor Swift, the number one with the big boss. No, I've never seen anybody fired up for an album like this since before the internet.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe that doesn't really exist in music outside of her right now. So.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, because normally we're fucking talking about Ukraine or racist grandpa or something. And,
yeah, I don't give a fuck what anyone's doing in music usually. Or if I do, I can find out real fast. Coolest thing that's happened in my vein of music, me and Chris got all fucking randy about was the Iron Maiden album.
Yes.
And I mean, if Gods of Rock can't unleash a glorious album and fucking stir up like 1/87th of this excitement, I mean.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's kind of like the Sandman, where like it's pretty good, but it's not going to top the charts. It's never going to top the charts. It's like but it's got longevity though.
That's a hot take. Those are fighting words.
Wow, what do you mean? I compared the music you like to Sandman.
Well, that's true. I mean, I like that, but it is going to top the charts. Oh, you mean like overall though? Yeah. Okay, you're right.
Yeah. I'm talking about
never top the charts. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
I'll walk it back.
Yeah, I didn't think it did. I'm glad to be right. Yeah, just trying to be nice. You guys are fucking aggressive. I'm so sorry that people don't like your shit fucking music. So bad. Anyway, do you guys want to talk about Sandman? You guys show up for some Sandman?
I did.
Yeah, more or less. Well,
not really.
More Iron Maiden than Sandman, but I guess.
You guys have more Taylor Swift, Iron Maiden, or Constipation. I'm good for that too.
Yeah, well, thanks for the offer. Hi everybody. Welcome to the Extinction Agenda with James, and Chris. We're talking Sandman. We're talking Dreamweaver. We're doing Sandman. Pardon my voice, everyone. Issues 21 through 28, December 1990, July 1991, collected as, I always say Seasons of Mists, but it's Season of Mists. And I'm a fucking idiot. So, like, for the 2 years that we've been doing this, anyone who's heard me say the title and, like, their teeth grated, I'm so sorry. But Season of Mists. I don't know where to begin. I guess we could just, did we like this one?
I did.
There we go.
I'm unworthy of the hospitality.
You're gonna end up in a jar. That's gonna be shit.
I love this arc. It's one of my all-time favorites in comics. So I'm gonna be pretty biased for this one. But I think this. I would say that this. I think when I first started buying these, I bought like the first 3, and this one just kind of sold me. I was back into comics for good.
Yeah, this was a big one. I remember, like, I think it was. I didn't care a lot for Sandman prior to reading Season of Mists when I was younger, and I'm sorry to say I wasn't really happy with this reading this time around. Like, it was good, but something about it felt kind of like nothing was happening. And then I was really fucking annoyed by those dead boys story.
Yeah, you sounded off on that.
Yeah. I was like, I read it, but I was very hesitant. I was like, fuck you guys, fuck you. Because those 2 goddamn dead kids do not show up again through the remainder of Sandman. It is a pointless and completely like peripheral story that just gets in the way of like what could be or what is an extremely like entertaining story. And whatever their reasons for doing it, I don't care. It was the wrong decision to make. And I don't know. I'm a little more passionate about and annoyed by it than I ought to.
And in a placement sense too. Like this was a big Morpheus arc. This was set up. First of all, this was set up in a prior book, and it was a massive problem he had to solve, and probably the highest stakes he's had to deal with, and the most complete we've seen his character. And then basically we introduced like gods from across the, like, he was on his heels. He didn't fucking know how to deal with this, really. Well, he did, and he impressively dealt with it. But it was the biggest thing they had going on, and then it was like, what the fuck is this issue happening?
Yeah.
Like, and I get it. Your guy needs a break, but I mean, like you guys were saying too, like when we're collecting these, that can get put in the extras pile at the back of the fucking book. Like we can, the placement needs to be fucking changed. Like,
yeah, and I don't know why they don't
possible.
Do that. Yeah. Anyway,
I'll push back a little bit, because I it's not that I like the story particularly, but it reminds me.
We're talking about the Dead Boy ones, like the kids waking up.
Yeah. Well, like, it reminds me a bit of the All Night Diner one, which you guys also kind of hated. But I think, to me, it gives some sense of the stakes of these massive situations from the mortal perspective in each case. And I don't know, it's one issue, just like an interlude in between. If you're collecting it monthly, you're probably like, I want to get back to that other stuff, but okay, like I'll check this out. And there are some good moments in it. So I don't know.
I'd be so pissed off if I was buying this monthly. 30 days of just fucking waiting, and then this shit shows up, and then you're like, what? And you're like, it's the end. You're not even gonna get it to continued. Like, it's not a story within a story. It's not nested. And then you get to the other side, and you're just like, why'd you do it? Oh, it's like someone stealing your bike. It's not like that at all. It's not a very good simile. Anyway, so general feelings aside, just as a sort of provocative statement, or just like for the sake of conversation, I'll just immediately state that Season of Mists contributes to my thesis that this is not a Sandman story, but in fact a Three Witches story, because it opens up with Destiny, and not like Destiny, which we've learned is the individual, or we do learn is the individual who, like, the Sandman universe is predestined. Like, there's a beginning, and you can, like, everything's all plotted out, and it's just like, what's all plotted out? And he has the book which describes the plot, and even Destiny is sort of flummoxed, as if even the frame is framed, and by the Three Witches, and by this larger sort of feminist narrative, or sort of which I think is sort of borne up by the series itself, or at least the Season of Mist itself.
Yeah, I like that image where they're like tugging on the thread as they talk to Destiny, and then it's kind of like the thread, one of the witch's arms is crossing the panels and pulling the thread across, and it's almost like there's some violation of like time and space, or like the order of comics or whatever. There's sort of this paradox that I didn't pick up on before, but Destiny's realm is a place. Yeah, you're right. It's a book. It contains everything, but Gaiman also says that his garden is a place where people choose over and over, and only in total does it become fate. But his way is laid out from beginning to end. So there's that. And this is a huge. I picked up on this. There's this huge theme of choice in this. Like constantly, people are saying, could I have done otherwise? And the answer is always yes. It's that sort of appearance. I don't know. I guess it's laying down the idea of these little decisions building into something major.
Yeah, well, otherwise the story doesn't have any stakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. I see it. I see what you're talking. Destiny has no path. He makes no decisions. But prior to that, shit. Yeah, but if it's cake and eat it too. So it's cake and eat it too, Tom.
Not really, because like even when people talk about God in like the classical sense, Milton's defense of God being omnipotent but allowing people choice is that God just sees the sum total of everyone's choices. Like it's all mapped out because he sees all of time, but people are always choosing. So I think it's kind of harkening back to that sort of idea.
Yeah, I suppose so. I know there's a lot of philosophical discussions be contained within that, which is the point.
Yeah.
Which is the tension between. That's where the witch is interacting with Destiny. that's how that can happen. Like that tension is what you've identified as where that interaction can occur. And yeah, I guess I'm just agreeing with you in saying that. Yeah. Anyway, so they're like, all right, you gotta have a dinner. Or is it a dinner? They have to have a meeting.
Yeah, a calling of the family.
You haven't met most of these, or you've met some of these people. I mean, you haven't met Destiny. Who haven't you met in all of this, James?
This is like I think this is the first time that I got to see the whole family. I don't think that.
Probably not Delirium.
I don't think Delirium was in there. Death was there. Obviously, Dream's there, but I don't think Destiny and Delirium were there. And then,
you saw the other two.
I'm pretty sure it's Despair and Desire were there. Were at one of the previous dinners, right, or one of the previous meetings or whatever.
Yeah, they were in.
They were conspiring in Doll's House.
Yeah, but then this is the full lineup. I don't know that, I guess.
Almost.
But yeah, the entry of Delirium was pretty cool and noticeable. And Death, there's always like, I always feel like there's some kind of angle happening with Death, but they're like, I don't know where they're going with that, or if that just gets to be I don't know. I just feel like there's too much of a little chumminess between them. That's like, I don't know.
Between Death and Morpheus?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they do seem to have a closer relationship between Death and any of the other characters.
It always seems that way.
Although she's pretty friendly, I bet we just don't see her interactions with the others. Although she really seems to hate Desire.
I don't know, but I don't feel like a lot's being done with her, so I feel like I'm being toyed with a little on that front, but we'll see, I guess.
I think he's just trying to keep her mysterious. Like there's that text page, right, where everybody gets these, or two text pages where everybody gets these long descriptions, and she's just like, and there is Death. Which is well,
maybe it speaks for itself. I don't know.
Well, I think that's the idea. I think that we want to the Dreamweaver wants to maintain that sort of like essential mystery of Death. Don't describe Death too much, just make her bubbly, but also menacing, and just let that be. I think it's a good tactic. I think it. I don't know if that character would have worked if there was actually Death has she plays Parcheesi. It's not interesting.
Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Mind you, I also didn't as neat as the entry of Delirium was. I don't think anything was said there either. I don't know if there's some cleverness I missed, but.
No, it's true. It is very you're just being introduced to this character, and you get a sense of how befuddled Delirium is overall. That sort of and so sort of sinister too at times. She's talking about how she met some guy, and I can't remember exactly how the story goes, but just I did stuff to him, and but that's another thing, because they just kind of glaze over it.
Yeah, she seems she's sort of chaotic in there was this little girl who said something really nice to me, so I made it sure she'd be happy forever, and you're just like, oh, that's what does that look like? But
a mixed blessing, probably.
Yeah. And then she's like, did some really bad things and I did some good things, so and she's just kind of a wavering middle in the universe, some sort of wavering moral level.
Yeah. Formerly used to be Delight, and then became Delirium. So you get the sense of there's this whole backstory.
Yeah, which is to my memory at least never explained, and I appreciate that. I do feel that it has something to do with like the fairies were leaving, right? Because the Earth is becoming too whatever, and Dream was asleep, and the world got all fucked up. There was 2 world wars, all that
makes
stuff.
so much sense. Yeah.
I do wonder if Delight, which has a sort of Renaissance fairy quality to it, became delirium within the 20th century. And they don't comment on it because it's a little too obvious to comment. You used to be Delight like 100 years ago. But I don't know. Maybe there'll be some things later on that sort of change my initial sort of sense of that. But that was my feeling anyway.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about this before. That this, the Morpheus doing awful things, and how Neil makes that palatable somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think part of it, like seeing this, because the whole point of it is that this meeting has just been to get someone to provoke Morpheus into, desire goads him about Nada, and what he did to her, and he's like, Am I the jerk here? And finally, Death has to tell him.
I was gonna say that's the big piece that we're dragging Morpheus back into redeemable. He has redeemable qualities. He's likable.
Yeah.
He's likable in this. Like he's gonna risk his own whatever demise, or if he can't really be killed or whatever, but he's gonna risk everything that he has available to him. His recontrol over his realm and his own whatever like weird mortality to basically just undo like what he's like that I've not behaved fittingly, that I've been unjust. Yes. Yeah. So it's just like that was the cool sort of moment that in the whole like lead up in that first book where I was like, okay, this is cool, and now we're gonna move forward into the big fight with Hell.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about sorry, go ahead, James.
No. I don't know. I don't want to derail the thing, but my reading of that this time was that like. So chivalry, this sense of chivalry was the very reason that he, the lady rejects me, like, I don't know if it's chivalry, but like some sort of aristocratic haughtiness. Was the reason that Nada was thrown into hell. And it's that same aristocratic sensibility, which inspires him he feels goaded. He feels shamed, but not because he feels like some sort of actual moral responsibility for it, but just because he's like, oh, there's a paradox in my code of honor where I can damn the woman and I can save the woman, and they're both equally the right thing to do according to my code. And so like, and I disliked it this time because it was just like someone just made him feel embarrassed at a dinner party, and that's the goddamn impetus of this story, okay,
see, I took it differently.
And I feel like that's covered a little bit in the epilogue. Where he's actually put on the spot. He's finally done it. So I'm really skipping ahead. Sorry, we'll go back into the
it's fine. It's
but like he gets Nada. He's standing there with her. I must apologize to you, whatever. And she's like, "Are you fucking serious?"
Yeah.
Like I was tortured for 10,000 years, starved, glass shards cut my skin, like just fucking, and then just slaps him like a bitch.
Yeah.
And then that's like it just like slaps him in his own realm, and you see his powers kind of like light up in his eyes, like he's like no one is allowed to do that too. Like he actually really is like almost like an old prison inmate in the way that he just strikes you down if he's disrespected. And she outright does it. What are you gonna do? Send me back to hell? And I feel like it's covered like how flawed his whole approach was, because he did, like you say, he did this in this hokey sort of chivalrous act, like, you've shamed me at dinner, I shall go to hell and rescue her. He does it, and it's almost like a hollow gesture, and then at the end it's just put on display as a hollow gesture, and he gets slapped in the mouth. And that's all redeemed after or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like that sort of makes up for the whole, like, or that sort of sheds light on what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it does a lot actually. And one of the things and we'll go through it, but I just found Morpheus such a pathetic character throughout this entire story from beginning to end. And that slap at the ending is very satisfying. For the reason you're just like, fuck, finally, just fucking slap this fucking stupid, complainy, whiny, lost idiot.
So I take it like a little bit differently, where I think
you don't think he's a whiny idiot?
Oh, I do, but I think the reason, like, I find it a redeemable and endearing moment that he goes to hell, like, obviously, because I really think that at that moment, like, I think that he just did not understand that what he had done was wrong, and it was only at that moment that it was brought to his attention. And so at that moment, it becomes immediately he has to drop everything, marshal up his forces, say goodbye to everyone, because he can't. That point of honor, he has to go and deal with it right away. Like, he doesn't want to do it. It's like awful. It's probably going to destroy him. But he's like, this has to be corrected because I fucked up. I didn't know. I thought that this was a cool thing I did. I thought, she assaulted me. Like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would be a little more sympathetic to that if Death's argument wasn't, that's a really shitty thing to do. That's the extent of it. And then there's a moment of pause as he's like, yes, that was a shitty thing to do. And then, like, my lady, I must go to hell. And you're just like, and she calls him an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, he's a fucking idiot. It must be so frustrating to be his brother. Just watching him fucking mope around and have all these girlfriends that he sends to hell. And like,
absolutely.
Oh, you got a really shitty tattoo, did you? Okay, I'm a big surprise. And then, yeah.
I think there's a shame though in it, like, and I think he swallows his pride.
Yeah.
Oh, because he kind of fuss, but he doesn't fuss with Death. Like when Death tells him that he fucked up, when Death says it's a shitty thing to do, he's like, well, she's so bubbly and she's nice to people, so she must know what's going on. He does have a respect for her that's why he swallows his pride. But I bet if anyone else had said that to him, he would have denied it. So there's something revelatory about Death for him.
Yeah,
go on.
It's a little more of a progression. Like he's got his justifications. Like I would, it's not about that. Like she did reject me. I would have made her a goddess. Maybe she didn't want to be a goddess, little brother. Do you ever consider that? So like it's he's been carrying on this image of what he did for the longest time, and there is sort of like a reckoning with it. But anyway, I don't want to belabor the point too much. But
yeah, no, it's fine. Like I think we're all kind of agreeing, but there's a little bit of, I'm putting a little more emphasis on him being a fucking shitty character.
Yeah, and if you read it that way, I could definitely see the little bit of disillusionment with this.
Yeah. Also, I think there's another way you could read that moment of him deciding to go to hell as like a decision to commit suicide. He doesn't know that's the choice he's making.
Yeah.
But that's
because he goes to his court and says, probably it's a good chance I'm going to be destroyed. If I do, another aspect of me will come back, treat it with respect or whatever.
Yeah. Which I guess that's a good transition to. Okay,
yeah.
Can we talk about the art for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, just before we get all wrapped up, Dringenberg, fucking beauty, but not just, but I've one thing I think we said before, or I've said before throughout this, I've gained like such an appreciation of Dringenberg and Malcolm Jones III, and just their collaboration is really great, and I want to seek out other comics that they've done. But then our boy Kelly Jones comes in, and you couldn't have picked a better artist, for this particular story. There are some panels where I think he fucks up.
I mean, he's awkward at the best of times. And because we had a big conversation about his artwork in the Mensch Batman.
Yeah.
And I just think he's fantastic. He's almost abstract. And it's enjoyable. It's refreshing. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
And this is you can plunk that right in here with Neil. I don't know.
Yeah, it works fantastic.
There are a couple like I think there's one point where Azrael is like revealing Nada, and he's like, "Isn't she a sweet and tasty lover?" And just the picture of her just like lumpy and weird looking. You're just like, "Oh, all right, dude, sure." But from time to time, it just kind of goes a little sour. But I overall absolutely like the 2-page spread of Hell when he first like drops down to those gates. You're like, "Holy shit!" I gotta stare at this for a while.
Yeah, every once in a while he'll draw just for awkward moments. Like there's that one where like Lucifer says, "I quit," and then it's like 3 panels of Morpheus's face, and then like none of them are legible. I'm like, I don't.
Okay. I want to bring that up. I don't know if I'm the dummy here. But this is the first book I noticed that Morpheus' face is always different, and his hair is always different, and it's deliberate, and I never picked up on it until this book. He sometimes has the features of an old man. He sometimes has the features of a black man. He sometimes has the features of a white man. He sometimes has the features of a young man. He sometimes looks like a creature, like, and then his hair will change, like long and slick and sort of frizzy and stuck up in the air, and it'll just alternate. And at first I thought, oh, that's hack and slash artist changes, but I think it's deliberate now in this book.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because then I noticed that Odin was calling him Shaper.
Yeah, we saw that in the cat story, right? He, I guess he was a giant cat.
I guess maybe I wasn't picking up on that they were like cycling his image that often, that he was like sort of ambiguous. He was anybody,
Yeah, well, we saw it with the Nada story, but I don't know. You might be right. Like maybe this is the first time they've really emphasized this. Like
I think that might be one of Jones's decisions, because I haven't noticed it quite. I at first I was like, I don't think he's drawing him the same at all. I wasn't sure if he was sort of like slapdash.
That was it. It was like on the previous books were such a mess, and this material's so raw that I thought, oh, this is just bad art that's accounting for this different look to him all the time. Outside of the Nada story, where I'm like, okay, he's fully shape-shifting. That's obvious.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's okay. So go on.
I was just gonna say, like like Jones's designs for the gods though, like are all like so fantastic. Like his Thor is like a hunchback of muscle. It's so weird, but like really cool looking.
The tiny. I'm gonna hazard it. Mjolnir.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
The little baby one. It's fucking like a little gavel.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid. It looks mental. I love it.
If you rub it grows
big.
Yeah.
Oh, you're damn right it does. As you drink your mead and sexually harass everybody, it's fucking awesome.
I want to go back to this idea that, okay, so Morpheus does change aspect when he's talking with the various gods and whatnot, but from panel to panel, that's just Jones being fucking weird.
You think so?
I think so, because like look at his pictures of babies and stuff. This guy can't draw a regular image. Like he just can't. Like, and I'm looking at these 2 women. They don't look like the same people. Like no one. The baby looks like an old man. Like no, I can't accept it. Like you're giving him way too much credit. He's just like a.
No. I gotta sample some images and I'll post them in the chat from this book. It's all over the fucking board. It's got to be deliberate. Even if you're only going on hairstyle alone, he's changing the hairstyle. He's even a shit artist doesn't have to do that. They're doing it on purpose. They're fucking with me.
I agree.
Okay. Well, you know what? What I like about this book is that like your reading of it makes sense, and maybe my reading of the book doesn't make sense, but it's like my like extra contextual knowledge of Kelly Jones's habits makes me think that perhaps like something else is afoot here. But
that's fucking hard to argue against.
Yeah.
One other thing that now we're moving right over into the journey to hell. There's one thing that's kind of getting my goat a little bit. I I don't have any understanding of Lucifer's motive. He doesn't have any motive. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't. There's like that little clever moment, sort of, when Morpheus returns back to the dream world with the key to hell, and his little crow daddy there is like, "Hey, how'd you do?" And he's like, "Well, what'd you come back with? Did you come back with nada? No. Did you win or whatever? No. Did you, so it was like, sort of like, he lost this battle, kind of, but kind of not, but excuse me. But there was nothing, like, Lucifer didn't do anything, and there was no motive for him to do this. And also, he didn't come out ahead in any way. He just made out with a brain zombie. And I just am so confused. and yeah, it didn't do much for me. I
think there's a double move on the part of Lucifer, to my mind. So the last time we saw Lucifer, he vowed revenge. I'm going to destroy you, Sandman. And then we also know that he's Lucifer, the fallen of angel, the most beautiful of the hosts, the most powerful. And, he fell into hell and decided that, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. And so he's been trapped in responsibility, trapped in a role within sort of a cosmic structure. And he's a being more powerful than Morpheus, and for him to feel trapped. So he's like, all right, I'm going to escape, and then I'm also going to destroy my adversary. And the way that I'm going to do that, I'll shut down hell, and I'll give the responsibility over to someone who can't handle responsibility, who's already close to the breaking point as a consequence of like the sense of responsibility that they have. And so I'll just keep more responsibility on them until it shatters them, because like they're not as powerful as me. They can't handle this shit. That's how I understood it. This is like a Machiavellian plot out of go on.
That's how I always used to take it, but reading it through this time, like reading that final speech that he gives, as he hands over the key to hell, I really think that it's a very, I think it's 90%. I'm done with this shit. I'm sick of being God's monkey. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to be your torturer because you demand it, because you feel guilty about your, whatever. Like that's nothing to me. And all your stupid demonic power games, I'm done with that. So fuck off. I'm going. And then at the end, it's like, the key to hell, it's yours now. Perhaps it will destroy you, and perhaps it won't. But I doubt that it will make your life any easier. And I think it's just sort of like, I've made a vow to destroy you. I have to, in some token way, honor that, because I'm Lucifer. My if I say that, it means something. But it's sort of like just like an afterthought. It's like, the ultimate goal is I'm just out of here.
Well, the biggest problem
follow-up.
The biggest problem with this interpretation is that you're believing the Prince of Lies, my friend. And yeah, I don't know. I hear you. But like, what your interpretation assumes that Lucifer is telling the truth in what he's saying, and that he's not like holding his cards close to his chest, right?
Which would be a mistake if we didn't have the ending and the coda where he never shows back. He never tries to intervene to force Morpheus into some bad end as these events unfold. He's not concerned with the outcome at all. He just sits on a beach and watches the sunset.
That's my whole thing, is like that. I was like, okay, the master of deceit, this is the most powerful he's got him here. He's fucking swerving him. And he doesn't. He just goes and he goes and hits it, just kicks back, grabs a margarita. Fuck it. I'm out of here, man. The key to hell might ruin your life, but I'm not actually really sure of that, so I'm just going to peace out and smoke a J. This is pretty weird. It doesn't make any sense, and it wasn't Machiavellian. There was no fucking scheme to be had. Morpheus was powerful enough to deal with that scenario. And that should have been clear to Lucifer, and then Lucifer just fucked off.
I think the motivation is in when he says he's questioning, he asked Morpheus, you remember me back in the day, what was I like? Oh, you were powerful, proud. And then he talks about the fall from heaven, and he thought he was rebelling, but now he thinks that it's just part of God's plan. He's another cog in God's plan. That had to happen. It's that self-doubt. It's that, like, I thought it was better to reign in hell, but no, it's just I'm trapped here. Like, this is God. This is exactly what God wanted, and I'm just I'm not going to play that game anymore.
And that no, go on.
No, I was going to say that's neat, but why is it timed with when he goes to get Nada? It does not, like. Right. And Lucifer really didn't do anything to push Nada into Azazel's hands or anything.
Yeah,
I think really, like, he didn't service anything. He didn't service any of this. He just was fucking, like, awkwardly leaving at the same time Morpheus showed up.
True.
I cleared out hell, bro. I'm out of here.
What you're picking up on, and I think this is very true, is that there's sort of an anticlimax to this build-up. Like, issue 2 spends like this whole time building it up, like, a farewell. I love his socially awkward moment of, like, going to see Daniel, like the baby, and he's just like, I'm not here to hurt your child today. Like, it's like, oh, cool, another day, I suppose. But like, it's just like, it's so built up that this is the ultimate confrontation, and what you get is an issue of Lucifer with some, like, quest type things, like a few things to wrap up in his kingdom as he goes around doing his rounds, locking up the gates, and a lot of exposition. And then, of course, the trick of giving him the key. I think it's fantastic. I honestly, like, think this is one of my favorite issues in comics, but I could definitely see where you're coming from.
I have this issue. This is the one issue of 2 issues of Sandman. I was lucky enough to get this particular one, and I was very happy for that. I guess there's 2 things. The thread got dropped a little way back, so I'll say the other one first. Talking about the anticlimax, like, even Sandman, even Morpheus, like, look, like, he looks kind of pathetic in the desert, and Lucifer's up in the sky, and he's like, I thought we would fight, Prince Lucifer. And he's just really baffled, because again, it's the chivalrous code that to my eyes is motivating all of his actions. I'm not sure, like, the story doesn't condone that behavior, but that's what he is to my eyes. And he's like, I thought we were going to, like, get on our horses and charge each other with our lances. And Lucifer's like, no, we don't need to do that. By the way, here's a curse. And I guess this brings me to my second point. If Lucifer is a cog in the grand machinery of the universe, the key to hell places one within that cog. And to an extent, if that is so, then Lucifer is able to sort of, like, tap into some sort of predestination, some sort of knowledge of what's predestined. What happens when the key of hell is given to someone. And that's this tension again in this book and throughout Sandman, like, from this point on, if I recall correctly, there is a feeling of, like, people are making choices, but everything is set for the end.
Yeah, I think, and he's the one guy who's figured it out. I think he's so far ahead of everyone that, like, Morpheus can't even keep up with him, that he's figured out that it's all choice. It's not like it's just going back to, like, Destiny's book, like, all these moments are choices, and even the big things, he can walk away from it. Like, it doesn't have to define him. Whereas, Morpheus not likely to get to that, being so rigid and rule bound and duty bound. That talk with that like, when they go to that guy, he just won't leave, and he's, like, chained up, like, Hellraiser style, like, that guy, that's fantastic. That's, I don't know, I can't say enough good things about that. Like, the I am Brashao, and he is, like, he's such a, like, he's awful. He strangled my sister when she would not consent to my advances. Like, everything he does, like, kills babies, and, like, he is a monster, but he's so proud of it in a way. Like, if he doesn't have that, if he isn't being tortured for it, then then he doesn't exist anymore. And I love just the dismissiveness of Lucifer. Like, so you killed a bunch of people who are going to be dead by now anyway. Go away. I'm done with this.
Yeah. I like when the cut off I guess there's two things. Once again, there's two things. There, like I like this scene when he chooses to have his wings cut off. He feels pain in that moment. Like he's really making sort of a sacrifice in like having Morpheus do it is all the more, I don't know, symbolic. I'm not sure what it's symbolic of. There's maybe there's an irony like of Morpheus, who is so rule bound, who is stuck, is the instrument of freedom in this moment. I think I've already said, but like the ironies that are contained within Sandman are what makes it work in a way that it could have potentially not worked at all. All of this could have just been just the worst, just the fucking worst. But it just turns out to be so good. Yeah. Even though I didn't much care for this as stretch as much as I liked other stuff, which surprises me.
Yeah. But just on a personal note too, the whole conversation about, it's just like unpacking all these absurdities about the idea of hell and growing up like pretty Catholic. The idea of hell and guilt and all that shit like really had a hold on me for a long time until I started unpacking it like as a teenager. And I like this and Preacher, I think like really helped me think through that and kind of distance myself from it. So it's yeah.
Oh wow, the secret origin of
Preacher really helps. Yeah, but there's like just like why just this confusion of like like why do they always say that I'm making them do things? Like I don't know, what would I do with a soul? What's the value of that?
Yeah. There is sort of a there's a metatext thing here, like so Lucifer in Milton's Lucifer, like he didn't really exist until Milton created him, and I was reading a little bit, and it's kind of cobbled together from a lot of different sources and ideas. And so he's this like a Shakespearean character, like this connection to like British literature. And he comes in and so if it is the case that the Sandman narrative is, because I don't know if Milton's Lucifer is so concerned with predestination. Again, I don't know Paradise Lost enough, but I don't think so, because he's just like, look, I got cast down, and so I'm like, here I'm going to hang out, and this is the role I'm going to like, better to rebel down here. I'm constantly rebelling. He feels that he's rebelling. And I don't know if it's explored. Maybe you would know better than me, Chris, but in this book, if it is the case that there is a beginning, middle, and end, and it's all worked out, Lucifer is the one who's going to spot it, and he's going to draw attention to it. And not only that, he's going to like become a plot, like his awareness of the larger plot will become itself a plot point, which is like, that's always going to be cool for me. Like as much as I kind of was surprised at how ho-hum I felt all this, like I'm still impressed with particularly this issue and this idea, like the central idea. I don't know if there was a larger point to that.
Yeah.
Like, probably not.
No, that sounds good.
Yeah, yeah, good enough. Yeah. And then we start to see some other gods, unless there's some other things we want to say about the.
Do you have anything, James?
No, not for that.
All right. Well, Odin. To Odin. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, yeah, and this is the anticlimax part. Like he goes to hell and he's just like, well, I'm back. And now everybody's gonna like, kind of show up. Basically, the beggars are gonna show up at this point.
Hey,
and
Doc,
fine, because you understand that that this is a worse fate than battling Lucifer.
Yeah, or it's like it's the form that battling Lucifer takes. Is maybe another way of looking at it. Like if you interact like this could like you might want. Even though I think it's a Three Witches story, I mean, maybe another way of reading not the invisible Sandman, is as an extended battle with Lucifer, in which Morpheus doesn't make it. I didn't. when I was younger, and I guess less so now, it really annoyed me, this version of Odin and Loki and Thor, like when I was younger, because I was like, that's not Loki, that's not Thor.
Because of like the generic sort of Marvel Comics.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't like, leave those guys alone. There's so much Thor. Like, what is it about Thor and Odin and Loki that is like, is this Stan Lee's fault? This is Stan Lee's fault, right? Like, yeah. I don't know where this intense affection for this particular mythology comes from.
And then now you have Anthony Hopkins and Hemsworth and everybody sort of like just rock hard solidifying those images.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't remember the guy that plays Loki's name, even though he's great.
Hiddleston?
Tom Hiddleston, probably the best of the three of them. And I dropped what's ball on his name.
Oh boy, that's so sad.
Sorry, bro.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know that.
Go on.
I know for a fact that Gaiman, because he did a volume of Norse myth, retelling the stories, and I know, he's long been interested in. Given this is the guy who knows, just like is obsessed with myth. Like I believe that he just kind of jumped into everything, and I think he mentions in the intro to that just the doom in that world. I think that's a big part of it, that this entire world is fated to be destroyed, and like all the gods can kind of do is vainly push against it, that it just like took hold of his imagination from a young age.
Yeah, and it's certainly resonant with Sandman. I guess I hadn't. I mean, I guess I'd thought about that, but I was just. It does seem strange to me, because there's so many myths to choose from, and fine, he fell into it or whatever, but it's because he read Thor comics. That's my, I would be surprised. Hypothesis here.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's also true.
Yeah. But then he's like, what'd be cool if we just like stepped in the myth and we like dramatize that, and like actually it is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and there's that world-shattering thing too, of like major things having to change not only hell but also the Asgardian myth of Ragnarok, where Loki gets to stay out of his torture, right? So that's having that in the background is a ticking time bomb, you'd think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many manipulative elements. There's so many things that like once set in motion in this story, like that have, and I guess I've already said they have their sort of, everybody has their choices and desires and things, but there's an inevitability to the final outcome, which I think is like literal in this, like it's not Deus ex machina, it's Deus ex Deus. And it's just like, someone comes down and it's just the angels solve the problem, which again adds to my idea that, or my sense in this is that Morpheus is just so fucking pathetic. Like he doesn't solve anything. Like he doesn't make any decisions. It's all decided for him at the end. And then in the interim, while it's being decided for him, pieces are being set in motion, which are going to cause him harm. And that's all that happens.
What he gets, I thought about that too, because it is, like it's just handed over. The choice is taken from him. What he gets is the responsibility of sticking to that choice with the threat of Azrael, that Azrael has made of destroying Nada. So it becomes a more personal stakes at that point. But you're right. Like it feels like there should have been something more to just God jumping in and saying, no, there's got to be a hell. Sorry, coming late to this party. Wasn't really paying attention, but what the fuck? I got some guys. I'll send them down.
It's fine. One of them's real. He doesn't speak. Just give him the key. It's good. He's going to turn out to be a real fucking pervert. And I guess that's because, like, I looked at, episode 1, dinner, episode 2, goodbye, pointless. Episode 3, Close as Hell. Episode 4, Meet All the Various Gods. Episode 5, I wrote Fuck This. I guess that's the dead kids. Episode,
I think that's chapter 4.
Okay, but it's fine. Like part of this story, and then everybody makes their offers in 6, and then in 7 it adds up to nothing. Like all of the stuff that we've watched, like it just served real no purpose, because just like the angels who we saw early on just show up and take the key. And so I was like, well, why?
Not really. He has the choice to give them the key.
What choice? Like what real choice? Is he gonna hold the key back? Like he knows these are the emissaries of God, and in this universe, there's God. And like whatever Gaiman might say about in interview, like it's pretty clear that the highest power above, Lucifer's stronger than Dream, God's stronger than Lucifer. So, like even if there's someone higher than God, that like it's pretty clear that that's the main honcho, at least in this story, and what he says goes. And it's already been decided. There's nothing, like you can't fight against it. If Lucifer couldn't, you sure couldn't.
Yeah, I feel like he could have given away the key, gotten something he wanted, and just let the emissaries deal with taking it back from whoever he gave it to.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, you could have just like, here, give it to Zazel.
Yeah.
There you go. That might have been an elegant solution, actually. I'll give it to you in exchange for whatever, and like it would have shown a great deal of slyness and self-awareness to know that, like, and then shortly after, the angels are just going to fucking rip you to shreds. I don't know if that would have been better, but maybe it would have made more sense to me.
It would have made Morpheus cooler.
Yeah, I
True.
kind of think so.
Yeah, because there'd be more agency to it.
Yeah.
But I still think that there was, like, I don't know why I read it as though he still sort of had a choice and just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do this.
I think you're right though, because I think the whole, like, the messages happened over and over again. Like, yeah, like every step again. I'll just keep hammering this point. Every step is a choice. Doesn't matter if it seems like it's not. Like, you're still deciding something. You're still choosing.
So what? I don't know. What does he say? So blah blah blah. Give you the key to hell. I cannot do that. I cannot give it to any of you. What? Why not? And then the angels come in, because it is no longer his to dispose of. We have taken back the key. Like we have taken back the key.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
No, they're just grandstanding.
Oh yeah, those angels.
They couldn't take it from Morpheus in his own land.
Okay. Well, if we're gonna do that, like we could just like and we could just like make up all sorts of stuff. And actually there was 2 issues that Gaiman didn't write, in which the Morpheus played chess against the angels, and
that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I liked his dinner party though, and I
oh yeah,
I feel like the whole thing was very, very much like a soap opera, or like a grand Doctor Who miniseries or something. And this particular graphic novel made me really feel like this show could be well suited for TV. This
next arc, if they get to it'll be good.
They I haven't watched the first season, and I feel like this book makes me want to watch it now.
It's pretty
just to sort of see what they're doing.
It's like borderline adequate.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to say for it. The performances are great, but
yeah, I'm happy to hear you say that, Chris.
Yeah, but I'm not what I'm expecting British television. I don't have a high hopes.
But it's not even good British television. Like it's
like Netflix television.
Yeah. Although I think I said I watched the one where he goes to hell, and like the hell bits were pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that too much, but yeah. So anyway, so it gives me hope that James, this actually might be a really interesting sort of visual treat if it's given the proper, it is like this could be a season. It could be very easily be a season. And it must be the next season, right?
And there's so
I
much
would be excited for banter.
Exactly. Because there's so much charm in seeing the gods try to sway him, and his courtcy, like just unfailing. It's like, here's the best deal you've ever heard, and he's like, well, thanks for your offer. I have another meeting. If I don't stray from the path, you'll find your room. I just see him go through all these things.
The flame will lead you back to me. Yeah, he's just going through it.
Yeah, and like there's some nice character moments too. I think like this is really Gaiman coming into his own as I don't know, like those touches that make him Gaiman. Like when the shivering Jenny gives him the balloon, he's like, well, like I don't know what to do with this. Then he gives it to Matthew, and Matthew's like, what do I need with the balloon? But he's like, he flies off and he's still holding it, like just like obviously like that kind of crow thing of like, this is neat, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I think this feels like this is it. We've like, I might have said this earlier, but like we're definitely in earlier podcasts, but like by this point we've arrived. Like Sandman's here, Gaiman's on full steam, like, and this issue where everybody's offering him something, like I think it harkens back to like, so he gets the key, and then everybody offers him something that he desires. It becomes a battle with desire, and desire is contained within this story. Desire causes all these issues. This is all set off by her. And although earlier I argued that this is Lucifer's plot, but it's like, plots within plots. Like Lucifer understands the drama. The fundamental drama is initiated by desire, and now we're seeing a version of that play out where like he's tempted by these various things to waver and sway from his code.
Yeah, but you're actually selling a point that Morpheus is not only clever in all these instances, but that he actually wins this battle. Then if you want to get technical, then if it's like a sort of a plot within a plot, and he's battling against desire, he defeated desire. He didn't give in to any single item that he wanted or needed.
Well, thereby for the grace of God, right? Like that's through, only through divine intervention is that the case. He would have had to have made a decision.
No, he chose to disregard his wants, his desires.
Well, we already covered this. The key was taken from him. I don't think he did. I think it's kind of like, but throughout all of that, like I think when he lets Loki go, and says like, and he tries to ensnare Loki like that's an act of self-harm.
Yeah,
that results from all of this. Go on.
I like to think that some sympathy, like some growth from the Nada situation, bleeds into that decision. He's just gone through that meeting, and right. It's like, I was in hell for all this time, and she asked him like, could I have gone away, perhaps? And just, I think something fundamental. I just don't think he has the heart to send another being, to condemn another being into that fate again.
Right. And that, like if I remember correctly, Loki's going to show up again, and it's going to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
And so, again, these ironies contained within the story, are what makes this rich. Yeah.
I think you're projecting a bit of Morpheus hate.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely expressing it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Morpheus. Like he's cool. And I just don't want to spend too much time with him is what Sandman's teaching me. It's better when he is just kind of on the periphery doing stuff. I know this story was absolutely necessary to everything that's going to come later and for reader identification and understanding. But the more you spend time with him, the more pathetic he is.
The story's a shockwave. It's just like it rattles everything to come.
Yeah.
There's some nice little callbacks or tie-ins to when Morpheus, I guess actually he gives Azazel the John D treatment, where he does the same thing, where he he thinks he won, and then he like just kind of appears in the palm of his hand, and he puts him in that jar. But that little treasure chest that he puts him in, like with I'll let him cool his heels for a couple millennia, and like teach him what it means to disrespect me in my own domain. There's the Corinthian skull in that box, and then there's two little tokens that'll actually come back. They kind of like hint at stories to come. It's a really neat little Easter egg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think there's a bottle with a city in it.
Yeah. I was I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but like I guess even that kind of like I could watch Morpheus eat people from inside out like over and over and over. I love it, but I was like, like you're doing that again already. This was good, and I like this like Kelly Jones illustrates this extremely well, and so it's so cool when it happens. But I just thought to myself, like, even the action is the same thing in this story. Like, there's nothing sort of new revealed, and it just kind of makes him. It's like we see his power move. Like, what's his special move? Oh, he'll eat you. Put you in a jar or something like that. Treat you like a little toy. It just wasn't a moment where we saw something more of Morpheus.
I don't know. I argue that a super move is not only important but good to repeat.
Yeah. Well, I hope he does it over and over and over again. But I just don't think
one more time. It's the sweet chin music. It's the.
It's the power bomb. It's just.
That's right. There it is. Yeah. Batista bomb.
Yeah, exactly. You need your finisher.
Yeah.
You're so sad with that, but I mean, hey, it's a staple.
Yeah.
And I'll say, like, I've read this probably 7 times. I don't think I ever realized that until this reading. So, I mean, there's something to say. And maybe it's the same with you. Like, familiarity is always going to breed a little bit of, not contempt, but like, the more you go over it.
Fuck you, Morpheus.
Oh, Jesus.
I forgot. I wrote down when he's in hell and he realizes that Nada's gone. And again, this just adds to my thing. He's like, Nada! And you're just like he's this bro. He's just like this bro that went down into hell, and he thought that like he was going to find his lady love. And he was going to get into a fight, and he was going to like, anyway, it was just, yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of a titty in that instance, and it was, I don't know.
No.
They're good for, but I mean, like, I feel like that's where your understanding of the character comes from, and also your like empathy for Morpheus is built that way for him being kind of like a tit or having characteristics that are average. It's the only way to kind of ground him, or maybe it's not the only way, but that's the way.
Yeah, no, it is.
Like,
yeah.
That's what makes me enjoy him, or else why the fuck do I care what a god's doing? It's not gonna resonate with me unless he's gonna make mistakes that I would make, or I don't know.
That's so true. No, and that's like been the way since Greek myth, like, or like all myth. Like you have these gods that have these flaws, and they're just like going around doing boorish things, and it's the humanity in them that is the relatable thing.
Yeah. And there's sort of the awesome terror of their passions unleashed, and like they don't, and we've seen this from Morpheus, interacting with people, like he's just in there's a different register that this is all happening at. And when James says it's like a soap opera, like I kind of agree. There's like this drama of the sky, and the queen and the king are fighting, and that kind of thing. And the trickster came in, and but they're ultimately all sort of selfish and shitty and internecine. And it makes sense. It rings true, even though it's completely false, right?
Yeah. There's that neat little speaking of the king and queen fighting, in the other callback I wanted to mention too, I realized that in the issue 8, when we get the story of Morpheus and Nada, the guy says, there's a women's version of this story too, but like, that's another, we don't know that. But she and as they talk here, she says, like, I asked you to renounce your position and you could have gone with me, and that's still an option. And he's like, yeah, I can't do that. But I think that must be the version that maybe the women tell in that tribe. Yeah, you suggested that once before, Nada. My answer is not changed. I have my responsibilities. Cannot abandon them. You said that.
Yeah.
So you said a very long time ago.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So all these, like, he's so great at just kind of, I don't know if it's probably not planned from the beginning, but remembering what's come before.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an improv artist, like we used to dream. Yeah. We're just like, we're gonna say that throughout. Like this is like it's one thing I am wondering, because last time we talked, I was like, oh, he's setting up all these pieces, and we were setting it up, and I'm like, again, he's setting it up. When does it start to like? When does it? Like, one of the curious question is like, when are we going to see that it starts delivering? Like, and nothing new is going to be introduced. Is that ever going to happen?
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how he does that, because like I know there's a wrapping up where like you stop getting new information and it all.
Yeah, it's going to close in on itself.
Yeah. And I wonder how long that's going to go on. It's just out of curiosity. We'll have no choice but to figure it out. But.
Oh, that's harsh. Why does she chooses resurrection, but then like comes back as a white baby? I never realized that before.
I saw that. Yeah, I was like,
that seems unfair.
I don't know, Gaiman. You don't have a lot of black characters in your story. You could have done simple fix, bro.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Is that just bad coloring though?
You think it's Daniel Bozo's fault?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that's.
It could be the Kelly Jones like Daniel Bozo like combination.
Well, they're actually no. Wait, no. Hold on a second. They're in Hong Kong. She comes back as a little Chinese kid.
Oh, my bad.
No, well, it's not clear. Like
it does say Hong Kong. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed the caption.
But I think that comes down to the art. That's not our fault. Like, it's not like it's very clearly like.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of a Chinese baby. I guess. Like.
I don't know, man. They're under like a terrible dictatorship there.
At this time?
Don't.
Not in Hong Kong. Not in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong was okay back then, right?
Yeah, like a lot. Yeah, it was a very different time. It was time.
Don't
speak children.
No, don't speak ill of the fucking master commander.
But they should know. I think. Well, I think there's rumblings of the Chinese takeover. Like people knew that it was going to revert to Chinese rule.
Oh my goodness, we're definitely talking about Sandman now.
Oh no.
Speaking of inevitability and predestination, everybody knew what their writing was on the wall.
Exactly.
I like how he turned Nuala into a little Radigan.
Oh like yeah,
hobbit.
It's so horrible.
But like the funny thing was the art was so shitty. It was like he turned her from like a frumpy, ugly blonde girl to like a weird Radigan hobbit. Both were ill-conceived and unappealing, and I was like, what's happening here?
Yeah, did the inker change or something? Like something's wrong with this last issue. It's Dringenberg, but like like I don't know who's I gotta fucking look this up.
Maybe a little rushed.
Sorry, talk amongst yourselves while I look this up.
Yeah, we're doing like paint spackles and stuff, just flicking the brush on the page. Something happened here.
It's George Pratt comes on in, and then this is fucking George Pratt's fault. Like this does not look as good as when Malcolm Jones III is involved. So fuck you, Pratt. Fuck you, George Pratt.
Yeah, you didn't even have any fucking work to do, Pratt. There are no backgrounds. You just had to make the fucking pencils not suck, and you blew it.
Oh yeah. I'm looking at this guy's. I know this guy. He did Enemy Ace War Idol. No thanks. Fuck
he's a liar, and he got his job through nepotism.
Whoa. Yeah, well, yeah, because he's the child of Hugo Pratt, to bait me.
I knew it.
Yeah. I don't think that's the case.
He grew up
in Texas.
No, I'm just fucking around. Do you guys get the really cool like pictures at the end?
Like the covers?
Mini biographies.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like the paint, like the photographs.
Yeah, those
fake
are
photographs.
Neat.
Yeah.
I like that.
The assistant editor, Elisa. So for the first while, it was Tom Payer, and then Payer went out, and the assistant editor under Karen Berger was Elisa Whitney, and they have a Sandman related podcast. She has a Sandman related podcast with a friend of hers who does comics and sort of teaches literature and stuff like that. A little less profanity than us, and issue by issue, with a lot of insider knowledge. It's it's very charming. It's not my favorite thing, but it's good. So that's hard to do, because there's another two fucking guys talking about Sandman issue by issue, and they do like an hour and a half each issue, and just listening to their talk, and I'm just like fucking bored,
guys.
What
are you cracking down on? How the fuck are you gonna talk about it?
You do an hour and a half for one volume, and that's right. How it's
done. That's how it's done. Yeah, you're welcome.
You talking about every fucking word?
Exactly. They're like, yeah, I don't know. I listened to the episode where they talked about the Shakespeare episode, because I was like, oh, okay, well, let's hear what these two fucking nerds have to say.
Yeah, fucker.
And we
even had time to slide in constipation.
Yeah, they were talking about like, oh, when did you first encounter Shakespeare? And they fucking talked about like, and they just went on, and then they're like, oh, and we studied Shakespeare for a while, and blah blah blah. Shakespeare's really important, and they did fucking dramatic readings and stuff, and you were just like,
oh man,
yeah,
that's
okay, yeah, like okay, fine, you're not hurting anybody, guys. You're like the podcast equivalent to a furry, but the fuck out of here.
Whoa,
wow,
yeah.
Oof. You're just gonna get too much reverence, I think, if you're spending that much time on each issue.
You're gonna start doing Shakespeare. I mean, like, first encounter with Shakespeare is in fucking, for everybody, is in grade 9.
Well, that was the part that weirded me out the most, because they were like, oh yeah, I encountered it first in grade 9, and I was like, yeah, so did all of us.
All of us, everybody did. Yeah, first of all, because it was bad curriculum assignment. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on. The teacher's all fucking cocky because they're the only person that's interpreting this properly. And then you went and got Leo DiCaprio's bad version of fucking Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, yes.
You're about our age, which is about 40-ish. And the whole thing's just a toilet bowl. Like, and then I guess if you want to study it when you're older and you can figure out what's going on, like, it's great, but no one wants to hear about it. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't start a lot of conversations about Midsummer Night's Dream. Doesn't play.
Arguably no one wants to hear what we're talking about either, but
yeah. Well,
at least we're not Shakespeare. Out. Yeah.
One more thing I want to talk about, guys.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
First of all, the angel spread shots in this final issue. Do you guys notice that?
Oh yeah. They're doing a lot of yeah.
I like a spready.
I think Gaiman loves the spready. He's like, I want to see the script on this.
Well, when you got like androgynous, sexless angels, why the fuck not?
Yeah,
he's like lounging back there. Yeah, there you go.
I like to get stretch it out, get the arm. I like to see a lot of armpit and a lot of like crotchlessness, legs wide as possible.
That's how it's done. Also, I love.
I'm glad you wanted to get back to that. Let's hover back to the.
Well, no matter. I think
I'm gonna go hentai. Like I don't get to fucking talk about hentai with you guys.
No matter how you feel about this, like you gotta love this coda with is it? I'm having the name of it. It is Remiel, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, like this guy's gonna fucking snap, and it's beautiful. Like his revelation of like, okay, I'm getting used to this idea. Well, okay, we're gonna make hell better, and it's that old like reformer like panopticon. Like V.F. Skinner, like behavior modification, like let's make punishment better. It's a beaut. Just the like him coming down to that sinner and just being like, yeah, no, we do it with love now. And the guy's just like, no, that's so much worse.
There's honestly like a few like straight up like pain for pleasure moments in this shit. There's some real Hellraiser shit happening in here a few times.
Yeah. And Barker's a definite influence too, for sure.
Sorry, who?
Clive Barker. Is it like
Clive Barker?
like an acknowledged influence on Gaiman's work?
Oh yeah. As soon as you fish hook the skin.
Yeah.
You gotta be talking. You're saying Clive.
Barker for sure.
You fucking pervert.
I think it's called giving someone the Barker. I think it's the term of industry there. Why does it make it so much worse if it's done with love? I maybe I'm being dense. I don't get it. Like
I think it's because it was completely like it really was this place for the sinners to punish themselves and call, like Lucifer says, they called the shot, burn me, freeze me, cut me,
right,
no more. And
I deserved it.
Now it's on this spectrum of like trying to atone for it or being under the watch of heaven.
Yeah, because like at some point I'll have to give up all of this, and I'll it becomes an exercise in giving up one's pride.
Yeah, in reformation or being molded.
Yeah. Yuck. All right. I'm with you. All right. Thank you for that. So I think we did it. And then, I guess it closes up. Like Destiny, we too shall close our book.
We'll close our legs like the cautious man.
Only to open them next time.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.